Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this evening's live session. So remember, we'll be streaming on YouTube as well. And I'm going to hand over to the host for tonight, who's Kyle. Kyle.
Hello, good night, everyone. Sorry for the delay. Thank you for joining us this evening or this afternoon. My name is Kyle Schloss, and we're here to talk about time and self and how we manage our time and ourselves. And the aim of the event today is to help students. One second. Yeah, sorry about that. Right, so the aim of the event today is to help students learn or to better learn how to manage their time and their self and themselves. So also to help students to cope with the pandemic and all the ills that have come with the pandemic as well, and also to provide students with peer support and also advice. And there are a few more speakers here this evening who will be helping to facilitate this program. And these individuals are Carla Moore, who is an artist and an activist and an academic and an alchemist and a life coach and a gender specialist. And I can tell you I have first-hand experience with Miss Moore, and she stressed me out a couple of years ago. She stressed me right out. And I am scarred to this day, but I am also grateful for the experience of having been in one of her classes and, you know, learning another side of life. So big up Miss Moore. every time, every time. Right. All right. So we'll hear from her shortly. We're also being joined by Antoine McKay and also Adriana Crawford. So we will be speaking this afternoon and, you know, getting questions fielded to each other, answering questions, trying to spread some knowledge and insight on how best to manage ourselves, manage our time, so that we can become our best selves, so that we can achieve, so that we can, you know, maneuver our way through this university life, which can sometimes be quite daunting without help with these things. It's a bit hectic at times, so we need to know how to strike a balance. Balance is very much key. We want to achieve, but at the same time, we don't want to burn out ourselves. So it's very important that we learn how to manage our time and also learn how to manage ourselves, to cope, especially in unprecedented times like the one that we're in right now, the pandemic and all of these things that comes with the pandemic. So Yes, without further ado, let's go ahead. There's more. Come to the fore.
Yes, Kyle. When the people them say Kyle Schloss, I was like, say what now? Uno? Who? Oh? Anyways, we're here representing. We are representing. What you want me to talk about first, Kyle? You want me to talk a little bit about myself and my work and these things?
Yes, I would love for you to do that.
All right. So, as Kyle said, I'm an artist and activist and academic and an alchemist. I also work as a life coach and I'm a gender specialist because I lecture at the Institute for Gender and Development Studies. And I'm really happy to be here this evening. I'm really happy that they invited me to be here because one, I see a lot of my students coming in looking like they are on their last breath, like them literally cannot survive no longer. This is it, they're about to lose it. And as somebody who is a graduate of the university, I know what that feel like, right? Especially after first year done. I know some of them start count towards your GPA. There's a level of stress that descendeth upon you that is different. So one of the first things that I want us to do, and you see, when we come in on one presentation like this, I look on a pure black screen with white writing. The exercise, I really feel strange, but we're going to do it anyways. So I want us all to take 5 deep breaths together, which means I'm counting on you to take 5 deep breaths wherever you're there. These deep breaths come with instructions. I want it to go in through your nose and out through your mouth. When you are breathing, I would like you to take the breath down in your belly button. Some of us are performative breathers. It's a whole heap of and the top part of your body do all of this move up and down and you're really sipping the air. We're not here to do that. Make your belly get big. All I want to talk in on the belly for the last 15 years, let it out, right? Let your belly get big. I want you to deliberately pull your shoulders down and away from your ears to trick your body into relaxing and unclench your jaw. Someone write yourself on the jawline tight, kind of under stress. Release it, right? So we're going to take 5 deep breaths together. I will count. If you feel safe, you can lock your eye because I know it can be very weird to open your eyes and do this. So let's start by emptying your lungs. Empty your lungs. And now in, out, in through your nose, out through your mouth, in, out. Remember a deep breath into your stomach, in, out. And this is the last one, make it a big one, in, and out. All right, now move up and down in your body a little bit so you can feel yourself. The reason I start with a breathing exercise is because a lot of us are actually very disconnected from ourselves. We're very here. We're stuck up in our head, especially my anxiety babies. If there's anybody here who lives with anxiety, let me just see something in the chat. Team anxiety representing the chat, right? You can be very caught up in your head. It's me, going all over the place. And then you can get separated from your body and you feel disjointed. Breathing is a very quick and simple way to reconnect yourself with your body, right? So I'm going to start with a question and I want you to answer the question as honestly as you can. Nowadays, we love to talk about toxic relationships, right? We can spot toxicity from a mile away. It's all about who is toxic. If you were to imagine that you were in a relationship with yourself, what part of that relationship would be toxic? So what I'm asking you to do is to identify the toxicity in the relationship that you have with yourself. So while we're waiting to see if people will respond, I will share mine. My toxic trait for myself is I never acknowledge what I do. Every time I accomplish something, my mind immediately goes to what is the next thing that I need to accomplish. Or if I do something and I will be like, I got that 90%, like it was 90% right. all me I see are the 10. Like I went in front of a room of people and spoke, and everybody was like, oh my God, this is great. And one smaddy skin up them face and look at me like me no make no sense. My God, I'm gonna think about the one smaddy. For years and weeks and months, me I think about the one smaddy because I want to know why they make up them face. Them could have constipated, I don't know. But me, take it personal. Say I'm me, the something why the smaddy never liked me, and I have failed somehow, right? All right, so I see people, okay, me know say them when I did that come. Self-doubt, overthinking, procrastination, being so busy I don't have time to feel. Let the church say amen. Low self-esteem, not communicating or directly stating what I want to say. Yes, someone will, right? We do it. Independent, never asking for help, communication, right? So a lot of us will actually struggle with the same issues because we're kind of raised in the same type of conditions by people who have the same set of priorities. So if we're going to be different, we have to learn. We have to learn to be different. It's not going to come easy, right? All right. Not taking time for myself. Overthinking, not giving myself credit. Too independent as well. All right. So you see, this whole business of managing time and managing the self requires that we first know and understand ourselves, which means that we have to come face to face with ourselves. And in order to do that, we have to step away from certain things that may be commonplace around us, but are not serving us, right? One of them, self-criticism. Caribbean parents and Caribbean people in general use criticism as motivation. Them why you have to do more work around the house, them start compare you to your sibling or your cousin or the picnic across the road who is very helpful. Them why you do better in a school, you come up with a 98, them are going to ask you, so where the 2 there? If you could have get the 98, you could have get the 100, why you never get the 2, right? Most of us are raised by people who weren't given as much space to be soft, so they could come across as very hard. And even though we don't like it, we use that voice when we are talking to ourselves. We talk to ourselves in the same way where we're very hard on ourselves, right? So that's one thing that we will have to let go of if we actually want to manage the self that we have as opposed to the self we think we should have. The second thing, self-rejection. So first, self-criticism, second, self-rejection. Now, self-rejection is self-criticism, but pan crack, right? So it goes further. So there are some parts of yourself that you just cannot accept because it doesn't match with who you think you should be. So people say to you, you're the one who's causing the issues in your relationships. You have trust issues. Me? No. I'm one of the most trusting people in the world. I take people at face value. I give people all the space in the world to end themselves. Right? I can't admit that I have trust issues. It doesn't match up with what I think about myself. I don't really feel like you're into that degree program. Me, I have wanted to be in this program since I was 5. I've always been clear about what I want in my life. I'm not like those people who are wandering and searching and seeking like Damian Marley. I know what I want. I don't lie, right? Or somebody said to you, especially like the youth, them say, say you're really soft. Me, soft? No. Man, in them soft business, them. Me not soft. Like, me not in them something, but when like him in a clutching pill and a ball and them type of something, which is completely okay, but he can't admit it to himself because he doesn't come from a space where he's been told that that's okay. When we see ourselves doing things that don't match with who we think we should be, we reject it or we deny it, so we cannot really manage ourselves, right? And then the last one is self-illusion. So we're like self-criticism, we're like self-rejection, which means that we're up all parts of ourselves and we're releasing self-illusion. Most of us have concocted a version of the world in line with like one traumatic experience or in line with what people around us have told us about the world, which have nothing to do with the actual world that we're living in. Some of us have concocted an idea of who we are that is based on who people have told us we should be or who people have told us we could be and has nothing to do with who we are. And so we're living inside of this illusion of self. But baby, you can't manage illusion. You cannot manage an illusion. If yourself is an illusion, you don't know how to deal with it because the reality is right there. You that they are trying to grab onto the smoke when the oil and the matter, you can't touch it, right? So we have to let go of our self-criticism. Me not grab eyes, so I them see, make sure I keep my hand them above board because no people are going to accuse me, say me a drape. I'm not draping. See my hand them here, right? We are let go of our self-criticism we are let go of a self-rejection and we are going to let go of a self-illusion so that we can actually come face to face with ourselves in our accepting and honest way, and then we can start to manage whatever it is that we find. And that is my little introductory spiel. It was longer than 5 minutes, but praise the Lord, I hope I said something useful. Kyle, over to you.
Always a mouthful, always a mouthful. Thank you, Ms. Moore. I want to invite Antoine Mackay to the stage now. And then afterwards, we'll hear from Andrea Crawford. Mr. Mackay, please come forward. Let's hear from you.
Good evening. My name is Antoine Mackay. I'm a second-year university student. I am doing international relations.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mackay. And Andrea Crawford, please come and introduce yourself to the people.
I'm Andrea Crawford. I'm a second year human resource management student and a management studies major. Minor, sorry, I wish I had a lot to say like Carla Moore, but I don't. But all I can say is that even though if you see me here talking, yeah, I admire how she talks. So I'm glad she's here so that she can also help me, even though I'm here to talk as well. And I took some of her advice and I'm pretty much calm right now so I can talk to some students on this. Also, I like helping people. So I think God put me here for a purpose to help students so that they can manage their time and also finding themselves as well rather than losing themselves.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love it. I love it. All right, please don't go anywhere. Please open back your camera again. Open your mic because I'm going to start fielding the questions right away. So Andrea, since you're ready to talk, I'm going to field the first question. To you, how can students manage their time and themselves when their home environment is not conducive to learning? What do you think about that?
Well, I think that they could allow their environment to be more comfortable and managing their time at home. They could create like a study timetable so that say at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock they study a certain subject outside in the cool air or in the room listening to quality music and stuff like that, and managing their selves. I think that they could take a breather to know that everything is going to be okay and not to stress themselves and say, oh, I'm frustrated, oh, the world is coming down. Because the more you do that to yourself is the more you're going to get fed up and you're going to lose it. So I think that they should take like a 10-minute break to themselves to know that, okay, I'm going to be okay. And they should also have support groups that they can talk to know that, all right, I have these set of people that I know I can count on. So, if I lose myself, I can go up to them and ask them for advice and they can help themselves to study more so that, they don't lose off at school and stuff like that.
That was actually very profound.
Thank you.
I don't know if there's anything.
Andrea said study outside in the cool air. On the hear what she said? She said if you're not saying at the house, I'm gonna get at God no but
more kids.
Especially the Portmore baby them. Good you give me solutions for real life issues.
That was very, very profound. Very profound. Mr. Mackay, go to the fore. What can you add if you can add anything to that?
Okay, so in managing self, I think you should take breaks in between studying because you can't just study and not take breaks, because if you don't take breaks during studying, you can, I don't want to go into mental health issues, but it can get you a bit depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not retaining certain information at a time, you might feel like you're not accomplishing anything that you like, that you ultimately set. Also, I think because I know I had this problem, so I'm just speaking from experience now. So I did something similar to what Andrea said. I made a study timetable, so I scheduled out when I would study, when I would take breaks, when I would eat, when I would sleep, as in order for you to be more organized and better equipped. Because what some students don't understand is that when you reach university, is a different kind of caliber of work that you need to put in when you reach university, because it's not the same as high school. I learned that the hard way, because I came in with the high school mentality and thought that I could just slide by with that, but I had to create a whole new routine to adapt to where I'm at now. So you have to learn to adapt and create new routines, so better, so you can be better equipped to do the best that you can. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Ms. Moore, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. Remind me of the question, come I want to answer the question where you're not asking it.
How can you manage yourself or your time when you're living in an environment that's not conducive to learning?
Right. All right. So my co-panelists have done a fabulous job at answering the question. I just want to add on to something that Antoine said about that transition from university to high school alone. We all know it's not easy. You kind of have to hit the ground running. And I think one of the things that I see mash up my student them every year is they don't come in with that energy, baby. Them want to say, we're just like, I breeze it out for the first month. And then we're going to catch up on the reading. Catch up where? Catch up who? Catch up oh. By the time 1 month gone, you're like 12 readings behind. Oh, you're going to do it, right? Mm-hmm. And so actually one of the things that I've said to my students is, please, and Kyle, you would have heard this speech, stop stressing out, stop creating conditions for yourself to experience stress. Towards the end of the semester, gonna stop beard, gonna smell like French fries, gonna ear one comb, like everything like that, gonna look all type of way bad. Why? Because you tried the 13 weeks of work in a 1 week. And me didn't tell you no, don't do it.
Yeah.
I go so far as to say to my students, he says, you see, when you go to the toilet, think of me. Right? Carry the one that can read it and go read it on the toilet, because I know so you can go into the toilet to go sit down for 1 hour if you don't have charge on the phone. So you just go up on the toilet and read the one because something right through when I don't read it. Right? When I don't read it. And I think sometimes students put off the work because they don't feel they have the capacity to do it. So you see when you bust all the reading and you see like a strong 30 pages, like you say in the name of Jehovah.
Oh Lord.
Why am I reading 30 pages for one article? This doesn't make no sense.
Lord.
No, my God. Oh my good, right? And you feel like you're not have a you're traumatized. You feel like you don't have the capacity. But hear me now. You see, if you give yourself the time, you can read through it one time and understand quarter. And then you read the next time and you understand half. And by the time you reach the third reading, you understand a little more. If you don't know said reading, I'm going to buffle you. Give yourself a chance. Everything is harder when you are under stress, right? So take time with yourself. In terms of working in a home environment, let them say it already. If the house is noisy, when is the house not noisy? You see, whenever the house is not noisy, that is when you study. Me know say you would have love can study in the day. But your family is chaotic. Mm-hmm. Wait till them guard them bed. Set your alarm. Get up 2 o'clock in the morning, and that is when you're going to study. So, like, if you're living in an environment that's not conducive, if you want to solve a problem, you have to name the problem all the way out. Mm-hmm. What is the problem? My family interrupts me whenever I am in class because they do not respect the class time. Okay, does your teacher do a recording? Possibly you are going to have to actually watch the recording versus the live class, because you can watch the recording at a different time. In other also at me living in one Portmore quad. Well, as Andrina said, you study when the time is cool. You have to build your schedule around that. Me feel like say, me feel alone. Are there people in your community who you can go and study with? Like, are there other places you can go? Sometimes we lock down ourselves to the yard. We lock down ourselves to the yard for school purposes, but then we got other people houses for other things. We say, we can't go to nobody else because of COVID-19, but every Friday there are people house sit down and watch TV. I browse TikTok side by side. So if you can do that for leisure, you can do it for skill. So maybe you need to get a little bit out of the house. So what is the issue that you're having, and what do you have in your vicinity that can solve it? Or what are you already doing that you can repurpose in order to solve the issue of being in a home space that is not conducive to learning? Right? So you have to actually talk the problem all the way out and then find the solution. And if you need help, reach out for help. I can't say that enough. Hello. No man is an island. No woman, no he, she, or they. We are not silos. Who doesn't have to do it all alone. Yes, that is my 2 cents on top of what them did say. But I never really been the kind of smart. Don't sit here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just do what works for you. It might sound difficult, but it's really not difficult. It's literally a systematic process. It's just step by step. What is the problem? What do I want? How do I get from the problem to what I want? What do I need to do? Outline the steps and just do it. That's literally it. So for me, I do what works for me. I make sure I make time for what I want to do because it puts me in a better headspace to get what I need to do done. So I remember, and I will never forget it, it actually changed my academic life. I was always great in math. And I remember when I was supposed to do CXE math, I bleach whole night. I read out my whole notebook, every single thing from front to back. I bleach whole night, I don't sleep. When I the exam in the morning, I crash. Let me say crash, I mean like, I ride a bicycle and a 18-wheeler truck, lick you going 180, crash. My brain fried. All in all, a good Samaritan saw that I was down on my face and they gave me some help. Tajay Smart, big up yourself wherever you are in the world. I got a 3 on math. But after that, I realized, all right, I will never ever do this again. I am going to find balance. I will never ever sit and bleach all night. All when sleep or kill me because I want ace an examination. It will not work. Balance, sleep. The only cure for sleep is sleep. Do not neglect your sleep. From that time, I said I will never, ever, ever do that again. Already do imminently if I need to sleep, I'm going to sleep. See? And I've done that. I went through university, two degrees now. And I never failed a course yet. As a matter of fact, after that, every single math-related course that I've done, nothing less than an A+. Big up Mr. Dennis, wherever he is in the world right now. Never fail. I find balance. I play a game, I watch football, I find time to be with my friends, but I also find time to do what I need to do when I need to study. When I started university the first time, I read 3 hours a day. So as Miss Moore said, you can't look for catch up in the last week. She usually stressed me out with some article on some 2,500 word essay and them thing there, you know. And to this day, I don't know why I get an A-, but I give God thanks because I know, say, I know me. But you have to spend time doing your work. So set out a little time somewhere here or there. Get the work done. Focus. When I focus time, I focus time. Then I don't play thing. When I play time, I play time. Just find the balance. Make the time. Literally schedule it down on a paper because you can mind map it better when you put it on paper. You know how it looks practical. So just do it. You're going to feel anxious about it. But the key to anxiety, I heard from a great woman, is just do it. Don't think about it because you're going to find all the reasons not to do it. You're going to psych yourself out. You're going to be fearful. You're going to feel nauseous. You'll feel everything except the will to do it. Just do it. Just start. If you wait on the motivation will not come. But once you start to work, the motivation will take time and come in and come in and come in. So just do it. Yeah? Just do it. Don't wait.
I want to add one thing there. There's something that I use when my anxiety is trying to stifle me. It's called the 5-minute rule. Most of us can convince ourselves to do something for 5 minutes. So if you say to yourself, just 5 minutes, just go look and sit for 5 minutes. Yeah. 5 minutes. And then most of the time, after you've been doing it for 5 minutes, you realize that, oh, I can continue. The little reading it's not so scary. But you don't need to find the energy for like 5 hours. Just 5 minutes, just put in your little toe. And a lot of times when you're in it, it is less scary than you thought. Amen.
Definitely. Thank you very much. And staying with you, Miss Moore, how can we do this while we're still coping with the ills and the effects of a pandemic?
I'm glad you asked that question. How do we manage time and self while we're still coping with a pandemic? The first thing that I would say is take time with yourself. So there's a lot of us are able to say, I'm living in a pandemic, I'm in a panorama, I'm in a panini, I'm in a pongonut, whatever we're calling it on social media. We can admit that it's difficult, but none of our expectations have changed in line with that. None of us have changed our expectations of ourselves to reflect the fact that we are living in a global pandemic. And that's one of the reasons why we experience this deep feeling of failure, because our capacity is here, our expectations are here, and inside of this is where the feeling of failure comes up. So you have less energy to invest. You have lower motivation. You have a limited support system. And have more days where you just feel terrible. So face that and decide how you are going to integrate that into your way forward. One of the things that I suggest is that people should be very actively engaging in self-care. What does that mean? It means that I need you to be checking in with yourself far more often to see what you're feeling and what you need in this moment. Some of us is like 2 weeks past before we check in with the feelings. People ask how you are. Oh, I'm stressed. Oh, the pandemic has mad me. But when was the last time you actually sat down with yourself and hold a reason with yourself and say, how are you feeling? And then you name the emotion them one by one. And you say, what is it that you need now? I feel lonely and I need a little connection with community because I feel like I'm way out of port by myself. Okay, then go and get that. I feel sad because there are a lot of things that I wanted to do that I'm not getting to do. My university experience is not turning out the way that I wanted it to turn out. Okay, then go and deal with that. What are the things that you can do to get you closer to the university experience that you dreamed of, with the understanding that you're in a global pandemic? I feel stressed right now because I've just been watching the COVID numbers and all of these things that are going wrong. It really seems like we're heading towards the Armageddon. Okay, then possibly what you need to do is to step back from social media and tell people, I don't want to hear about those things anymore, so that you can create some space for yourself. Sometimes you have to tune out the pandemic in order to create a space for yourself that feels okay. One of the things I had to do as my energy was just depleting is to get clear on my non-negotiables and my negotiables, right? What are the things that I absolutely must do? What are the things that I feel I should do because I think it is expected of me? And a lot of the times, the second something when I feel I should do because it's expected of me, where did I draw me down and tire me out because I couldn't possibly keep up with all of those expectations. And that is not what I want to share. Hold on a minute. Here. So something that's really useful for doing this type of sorting through is something called the Eisenhower matrix, right? And so the Eisenhower matrix, so all right, here's the thing. You can do everything. You cannot do it all at once. In the pandemic, when you have limited energy and there might be more things that you're coping with because some people have now started working them or work on the school and them type of thing there, it's even more important that you be very clear with yourself about what you have to do and what you don't have to do and etc. So the Eisenhower matrix basically breaks it down for you. You have things that are important and things that are not important. You have things that are urgent and not urgent. If something is important and urgent, you need to do it now. Right? These are the things that you need to do first. You need to act on them because they're important to you and they're urgent. You have to be honest with yourself about whether something is actually important or you're telling yourself it's important because other people told you it should be important. Or it's important because of people's expectations, right? So if it's urgent and important, do it. If it is important but it's not urgent, schedule a time when you're going to do it. Block a time in your calendar. Oh, I'm going to do it. I'll get around to it. It's very different from I'll do it Wednesday at 2. If I know say Wednesday at 2, I'm going to do it. Then Wednesday at 2, I'm going to do it. And by Wednesday at 3, it will be done. Right? If it is not important, but it is urgent, avoid it or delegate it. Right? These are the things that are your time sucks. So they must be done, but they're not actually important to you. Somebody else can do it. Or it can just not get done. Can be your responsibility. And it's all. I'm sorry, I'm incapable of doing this. Family members who are asking you to do things, I'm sorry, I'm incapable of doing this. No, I can't do it, right? It's about feel uncomfortable. Telling people we care about no, feel uncomfortable, but no is self-preservation, right? And then if something is not important and it's not urgent, you can do it at your discretion. If you feel to do it, you do it. If you don't feel to do it, then you don't get to do it. But you have to be very honest with yourself and rank the something them according to the category. Yeah. The paper we due tomorrow, well, that's urgent and important. The paper we due next week, important, but it's not urgent. So you need to schedule a time to do that one day. You know, makes sense. You work on the tomorrow paper and I stress out yourself about the next week paper. You have to go through that one first. Friend, when why you follow them all about, okay, baby, it is important, but it's not urgent. Delegate. Ask your man to follow you. Where's your best friend? Make them go with you. Me not going into the bus today. In these convenient times, I'm not going to halfway through with you. Leave me alone. Delegate. Okay, boo, I'm not there. I can't be there for you in this time. Right? And if it's not urgent or important, well, I guess it's just not going to get done. It's not going to get done, right? So these are some of the ways that you have to really get clear with yourself about what has to happen for you. It also helps for you to have a clear idea of what you want things to look like, maybe like a year from now, and then you start working backwards. This is the GPA I want. This is how I get it. This is a particular experience I want in my social spaces. This is how I get it. And then you start aligning your energy with your outcomes. Like a lot of it is just making a bunch of pimp decisions and be like, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, maybe. Until you get to a space that feels like it makes sense for you. Now, there are probably people watching this who are thinking, easier said than done. Because I love easier said than done me. Everything me say on easier said than done. Me never tell you say it easy. Me just put that in from now. Me never tell you say it easy. Me tell you to make some bugger executive decision and function at a very high level, right? The fact that it's not easy doesn't mean that it's not impossible. You can do it. It will feel weird when you just start, but you do have the capacity to do it, and I believe in you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very important points, guys, especially that Eisenhower matrix. I'm sure a lot of you will probably be jotting that down because it's very practical, and I'm sure it will be very effective for a lot of us. I'm definitely going to use it. I think I've been doing it, but I never know about this matrix before. But so it look cool on paper. So yeah, I'll use it. But for me personally, what I do is I limit the amount of information that I take in, because as Ms. Moore was saying, information overload in this time is crazy. You might find yourself feeling stressed. You might find yourself feeling quite sad. You might find yourself experiencing a lot of neurotic symptoms, and you can't even put a finger on it, but you don't realize that the whole heap of information where you're taking about your subconsciously. So the whole heap of bad news with COVID and killing and cancer and curfew and all of them things, it's bothering you even if you don't realize it on a conscious level. So just be mindful of the amount of information that you're taking in. As Ms. Moore also said, set boundaries. Boundaries are very, very, very critical in these times. And just accept that times have changed. So you have to also change as well and adapt with the times. Because if you feel like you can stay the same as before when times have changed, then you make a very sad mistake. So you have to roll with the punches as well and adapt as necessary. And just take it easy with yourself. Really, just give yourself a little wiggle room to wiggle and find yourself again in these unprecedented times. We're not gonna get it right. We never experienced something like this before. So it's fine to make mistakes and to wheel and come again back to the drawing board. Nothing wrong with that, because millions and millions, probably even billions of people have to be doing the very same thing. So I mean, yourself the same type of compassion where you'd give to somebody else if something changed and they had to adapt to it. Yeah. All right, Antoine, come to the fore, sir. Tell us what you have been doing to cope with the pandemic so far in terms of time and self-management. How have you been coping?
So how I've been coping, I've been just focusing on basically what Miss Moore has been saying, focusing on what I need to do in the present moment and not what I need to do, in the future. So as you know, self-care is very important. So you know you have to like find a balance, as you said earlier, also between school and work. You can't do too much because you don't want to, like overload your brain with too much info at a time. And so what I've been doing, like I have set days that I like go outside and just walk. I exercise because I feel because sometimes like your body does feel tense and you want to like release some energy, like you go outside and you can stretch and just chill. And then you come back and you start do some more work and I do that. Because you have to find that balance.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's what I do.
All right. Thank you very much. Angina.
So how I manage my time and self was that I know that I can't go outside due to the fact that it's a whole pandemic and I don't want to catch a disease, carry it to my family. So what I did, I created a routine that does not involve going out, like partying and all those stuff, which I did not normally do. So I was accustomed to just staying home and just doing stuff at home. So, but for the people that would normally go out with friends and stuff like that, I would advise that you create a routine that does not involve interacting with people outside because the pandemic is serious. So you can connect with your friends online at a certain time when you feel lonely, or you can spend time by yourself, like watch a movie where so you can talk to yourself and say, so why go do that? Just talk to yourself and then look at someday. So don't feel frustrated because it's okay to feel like that. Don't take it up on yourself to say, the world I end, like I can't go inside Andrew now, make me go outside.
Yeah,
Don't do that to yourself.
what I was saying is, you see that wait, scroll up to the top of the page.
I think you need to mute.
So the overall.
All right, Angina, go again.
So yeah, so I created a routine to say at XY time, I'm going to focus on myself. And next time, if I feel frustrated or lonely, I'm going to take somebody, just talk to them. So I feel like I have persons around me. And then another time, I just focus on school because at the end of the day, school comes first. Because if you go feel, money around you sacred these days. So yeah, managing self, I just created a routine so that I just don't feel frustrated or lonely. And for school as well. So I just wake up a certain time, do what I'm supposed to do, and just go through about the day.
All right, people, I hope you're all taking notes, some words of wisdom being spat here. Some very good pointers that can definitely help you to manage yourself in your time, especially here during the pandemic. And Andrina, I want to stay with you. I want to ask you, what advice would you give to students, or even looking back at yourself when you just started university? What advice would you give to yourself after just starting university, just coming to class, just starting class, and you had little to no social support? What would you say to somebody in a situation like that? Or what would you say to yourself in a situation like that?
When I started UE, I was like a piece of meat thrown into a pool of sharks, and them just chew me up and spit me out and chew me up. Like I had nobody, I was by myself, made everything by myself. I'm gonna get so frustrated that I was saying that nobody in a care, But then I started to like reach out in main groups, which I don't normally do, and asking people like, how to do this, or how I can contact that person and stuff like that. So talking in main groups, it had helped me to meet new people, which I don't necessarily normally do. But the fact that people reached out to me and connected with me as well, it has helped me to form a little support group and stuff like that. And I remember not knowing anybody, someone texted in the main group and said, oh, You would like to study a course, and I was like, should I answer that? Because I don't text in main groups. So I said, I'm going to suck up my pride and all those stuff and text the person and say, add me to that main group. And they said the day that the person add me to that main group, the link now in that support group, it's so strong because I talked to them about everything we studied, courses that we're doing together, and they basically pushed me and motivated me so much. And I don't feel behind. I didn't feel behind in any courses because if I didn't understand anything, I can text them and say, hey, you know how to do this, and they're right on the ball with it. But to persons who don't have support groups, I would advise you to text in like a small groups or the main groups, and just ask anyone if they would like to build a study group. Or if you're shy, you can text the person like one away and ask them to add it to the study group and stuff like that. Or you can reach out to your faculty rep, because I think the faculty rep for my faculty, Omolara Lusa, she's so kind. If the text her no, I'm pretty sure she's going to be helpful, and she's definitely going to find groups for you to be in, or even her, because she's very supportive. So if you want to find support groups, or not even support groups, or just find anybody to talk to, you can talk to the faculty, which is Omalora, who's the faculty of social sciences.
Thank you very much. So in essence, you have to step outside your comfort zone. If you used to be shy, you have to try to talk to somebody. You alone, it not gonna work out. You have to step outside your comfort zone in order to grow. It's very, 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 very,
especially because it's virtual now, so nobody cannot read your mind. So yeah, you have to. It's a must. It's not like you're on campus where you're sitting by yourself at a table and somebody pass and say, "Oh, she looks in." You can walk up to them and say, "What happened to you?" And them say, "Why am I feel lonely?" You have to step out to your comfort zone, especially if it's on a virtual space, like what I did. And it's
that
the
is a
best thing that
critical
happened.
point. That is I never, it's because I finished school before all of this pandemic business come. I never ever think about it. That is absolutely critical, because I'm thinking about it in a face-to-face space, in a class with somebody, you talk to them, you see them and you just brave up and you go talk to them. It's virtual now. So I don't know if that makes it harder or easier. I think it would probably be, it might feel a bit awkward to just message somebody who you don't know, but at the same time, I think it's probably a bit easier, because in person, you don't know who this person might be, and they might shame you, and you might not want nobody shame you in the public and all of that. You might be thinking about that, but I think in a virtual space, it might make it a bit easier to reach out. It might not answer you, but I guess the shame kind of, as much as if it probably would be in person, because nobody don't really know who you are. You're just a contacting them virtually. So reach out. I can tell you that building a network in university is as important as getting the degree. Because I remember saying links from Jamaica. Links go put in a certain spaces, because I remember that looking at your classroom, just look to your left, look to your right, look in front of you, look behind. All of them do like the same degree. So when you come out of all of them, if you see 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5 jobs are out there. So you're going to need something that can set you apart, that other than what you have on paper. Yeah. So making a strong network is very good. Building that social support. So you have to come out of your comfort zone. Have to brave up, talk to somebody, start with one friend, and then from there it will be. Yeah. Antoine, what is your input?
So I'm basically just going to add on what Andrina said. So starting first year for me, I had friends who were in the same position as me, so it wasn't so as bad. But we're in a new space now, a new caliber of learning, and just the work gets harder. So what we did was, like, even though we're studying different majors, like, we would still find time to just come and check up on one another, like check if if one of my like if one of them would post anything that seems strange or not like them, I would check up on them. And even though we used to do that, like, we still used to branch off and still try to make new connections with people, because at the end of the day we're doing different degrees. So it's not like we could have helped each other with that. So we have to like text in the main groups as to what Andrina said, try to, you know, because I remember one time I was doing government 1000 and I didn't understand anything. And even though I asked the lecturer to explain it over again, I still couldn't get it. So I had to like private message somebody from out of the main group that I saw was like answering, and you know, so I had a little convo with them and they explained it in a different way and I actually understood what they said and I actually got it. And then, you know, I just stayed with that connection with that person. No, we're in the same government 2000 tutorial and we're friends now. So you just have to reach out to people and just try to connect with them. Even though it's a bit like, even though you don't know this person, you just have, like, you still just have to try because you don't want to like block yourself from getting help that you could have gotten just because of your nerves.
True, man.
Your anxiety.
Yeah, man. You just have to push through. Just have to push through and just do it. Like night, just do it. Get it done. Pushing on right away to the next question. Miss Moore, let's go. Because of the pandemic.
Yes.
Because of the pandemic, more people are working and going to school to try to make ends meet. Yeah?
Yes.
So what support or advice could be offered to them? What support or advice would you offer to them?
So for people who are working and going to school and trying to make ends meet, the first thing that I would say is accept that this is hard. Not in a way that is just about defeating yourself, but in a way that is actually saying it as a truth. When you know that something is hard, you make provisions for that. So for instance, we know that losing a relative is hard. And so what do? We know, say, we have to go around other people to keep a company. We know, say, we have to go call people, go cook and carry food, come give away. We have to go find $5 million for have 9 nights and buy white from all of them type of something there, right? But when we know that something is difficult, then we know that we have to support ourselves through it. And what I am suggesting you do is to acknowledge that this is something difficult to achieve, even though many other people have done it, because people love to tell you their stories. Oh, me didn't work full-time and go school full-time and me come out with a first class honors degree and try I know that I was doing a double major. But great, thanks. What have to do with me, right? Yes, it's motivating to know that somebody else has done it, but they didn't have the experiences and whatever, context that you have. So you're attempting to do something challenging, so you will need to support yourself through it. You will need to make some executive decisions with yourself around where your priorities are, because you have a set amount of energy, you have a set amount of hours in a day and in a week, and you will need to become very deliberate in how it is that you're using that time that is available for you. You cannot work and pull overtime and do school and pull overtime for school at the same time. You are going to have to get clear with yourself about where you're going to make the concessions in one area to have the other. So you're somebody who is accustomed to doing 150% at work. This is your 100 year. This is the year where you're only going to do 100% at work. Because that 50 that you would usually direct at work, you need to direct it towards your school so you can meet the outcomes. You prefer to be an A+ student. Maybe you're an A student this year. Maybe you're an A student this year because you cannot actually do the A+ work and show up in a way that is going to allow you to keep your job. Now, what I'm asking you to do is make some decisions that people who are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s might struggle to make, because these are things that sound very practical and it sounds very hard. But when you know what you plan to do, when the outcome happens, you were prepared for it. So I am an A+ student and I've decided that I'm going to take an A to allow me time for work. When the A come in, I have to break down and say, Lord Jesus, me usually get an A+, because I know say A work me did do. Right? No, I don't want my students to act like this is unfamiliar to them. I know that some people might be sitting here like, I would never do that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. There is a sliding scale that happens with students as they get to the final semester of third year, where many of them started out as A+ students, and at the end, they're like, I just want to pass, just give me the degree, let me come out. Kyle, am I lying, or do people do this?
True, man.
I just want pass. Give me the degree. Me come out. Just give me the degree. I'm at my left, right? We do this because what? You think about yourself. You probably started working. You're like, me not have the time to keep up with you and all of them requirements, my love. Just give me the degree. I already have a job, right? But what I'm asking you to do is before it gets to that point, actually stop and check in and think about, as Kyle said, what is the balancing you can do? What is the best I can do at work, which is not going to cause me to get fired, so I can hold on the work, while at the same time getting the best possible class of degree that I can get, right? And then you balance that out and you make the decisions around that. The other thing I would say to people who are dealing with a lot is you need to understand your coping mechanisms and how they work for and against you, so you can pick some different ones, right? So let me see here if I can get this to come up. But no, I don't want them look on the calculator. What do you, man? Here we go. Right. So when I'm talking about your coping mechanisms, like what are your coping styles? Most of us will have particular types of actions and ways of beings that we move into when we experience stress. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. If you can identify yourself in it, you can know what to do. So just tell me in the chat if any of this is you. Let's start with the ones that aren't necessarily so useful, right? Passive coping styles. The attitude that comes up here is, it don't really make sense to me, but I try to change things. I just said the things that there's nothing I can do. I don't think I have it what it takes to deal with this situation. This is a situation that's bigger than me, it more than me, my overwhelm, my stress. I have no clue how to deal with this. Or we find somebody to blame. You know, see, that's my day when I follow them go party when I never pass my exam. You know, see, because X and Y did I make up nice and also I couldn't get for study, right? Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Like, things always just go so badly for me, right? So these are passive coping styles where you just feel like you're not in charge of anything, you know, have no power, like everything just out of your control. Another coping style is the people them who want to have too much control. I think of them as a little bit like Olivia Pope, just incapable of ever backing up, right? So if I don't fix this, everything will fall apart. Classic super saver whole complex. You have to go and fix everything that's going wrong in everybody's life, right? Or if something goes wrong in your life, you must devote all of your energy to fixing it, because if this one thing falls apart, then you will be a complete failure. I must succeed no matter how big the cost. So as Kyle said, it no matter if I mash up my body, I'm going at the exam and my brain a blank. Like, I will live on 1 hour of sleep per day, because hustle, grind, make it by any means necessary. Floyd Mayweather, right? I have to push myself harder. I have to keep everything under control. It's important that everything is under control. Like, if one thing is out of place, I'm not going to be able to manage it. I have to be perfect. There's a difference between excellence and perfectionism. And some of us are trying. We say we're trying for excellence, but what we're actually going for is perfect. There is no perfect version of you coming. It's not coming. And I'm telling you that as somebody who's nearly 40, baby, it's not coming. But you can practice excellence. I have to fix everything. I must be strong at all times. Oh, the classic strong black woman. Or you know, the man them when them are the real G, Jenna, can't broke down, can't have no feelings, no weak fence, strength, no weakness. All them type of something here. Let's go and I'll serve you. Molly Grab and Fluxy complain it's okay, right? So okay, let me see who's saying in the chat, because I feel like I'm step on.
Yeah, man, it's not a crush. Oh, I can't feel a crush.
Why my life on display? Yeah, so we know them. Here's the thing about it that I want you to remember. All of these things are, you come to them through a set of processes, right? The person that you are right now, this is the best you could do to you. So please do not come here and be to yourself and be like, oh my God, I'm trash. Like, just throw the whole person away. No. Right? This is the version of you that managed to survive all the things that happened to you. So you need to put some respect on it, and then we're going to work with it to make it reach in a one different place, right? So these are the coping mechanisms that they're not really serving you all the time. So you may not want to hold on to those, okay? And then here are some more useful ones. Active coping. You take responsibility, you look for options. A lot of what we've spoken about today is active coping. So when I say the house hot, study when it's cool. I know the house noisy, study when I'm gone to them bed. I know that I'm weak on this particular subject, look for somebody who can help me. Jamaicans not like to beg friend. This is the era of friend begging. Beggaration is the way forward. You have to go beg friend. Because you're not there on the campus to up people anymore under the pagoda. You have to go beg friend. You have to go in a little chat group, them a beg friend. Yeah. Yeah, right, true, right? So you take responsibility and you look for options. You try to take charge of the situation and your emotions as much as possible. That don't mean you try to run everybody in another place. Okay. If the situation can be changed, you still deal with your emotions. So, okay, I accept this one is not going to turn out the way I want it to turn out. How do I feel? I will deal with my feelings. So, questions that this type of person would ask: what can I do to make things better? What have I learned in the past that will help me get through this? Some of you have already come through some very difficult situations. And if instead of focusing on how that experience like oppressed you or hurt you, you started to look for what are the tools that that experience gave me, you actually have a whole toolkit to deal with foolishness, because you deal with foolishness from your barn, right? How do I want to be in this situation? So if I were to describe the way that I responded to this situation, how do I want to respond? What are the words I want to describe how I respond to this situation? And then embody that, right? What can I learn from this event? What can I do to take care of my own needs? How can I meet my own needs in this situation? So, for instance, somebody might say, oh my God, I'm trying to do this without any social support. What does support feel like for you, or what does it look like? For some people, support is, I don't really need to connect with people every day. I just need to know that if I have an issue, there is somebody that I can reach out to and they'll respond. Okay, then go and find that person. For some people, they're like, I don't really want to talk about the issues, but I just want to kind of spend time around people to not feel like I'm alone. All right, well, then I have the little Netflix viewing party, or I'm going to the little WhatsApp group and go talk about whatever I need to talk about. Like, what does support actually look like for you, and how can you get that, right? So that's one approach. And then the other approach is surrender, which is, you can let go of the things that you can't control. You already know, say you can't control it, so grant me the serenity to accept the change, accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, right? So what should I invest my energy in, and what should I not? Sometimes you have to look at something and say, it's too far gone, there's nothing I can do to fix it, so I release it. Whatever is the outcome, I will accept it, but I can't keep investing energy here. Some of us, let me use inclusive language, are in relationships like this. We are in friendships, we are in family relationships, we are in romantic partnerships where things have already gone significantly downhill. We get up every day and we invest a whole bunch of our energy in trying to prove to these people that we are good people or that we're worth it. I'm trying to prove that I'm a good daughter. I'm trying to prove that I'm a good girlfriend. I'm trying to prove that I'm a good friend. I'm trying to prove that I'm a good boyfriend. When the reality is, you are pouring into a sieve. It cannot hold anything that you pour because the other person is not in a place to receive it. Accept that that's where it is and let it go. Put your energy towards something else, including your degree, right? You have to decide, when is enough enough? When will my efforts make a difference? If it's not going to make a difference, then you have to cut, right? If there is nothing I can do, what can I do? And this sounds like a really strange question, but it's a real question. If there is nothing I can do, then what I can do? I can't do nothing. I can't go put my energy over somewhere else because there's nothing that I can do here, right? So these, like the active coping, the surrender, these are more useful than trying to over control and feeling hopeless. So as I said, face to face with yourself, right? Coming face to face with yourself in a spirit of acceptance. And then when you meet yourself, being like, all right, cool, this is who you are. Some of this now work. This is what we're going to change. And this is how we're going to change it. And trust me, sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. When you're moving from one coping mechanism to another, like one coping practice to another, you have to fake it till you make it. You not just get up tomorrow and be like, I'm an active coper. No. When some come up and you feel yourself and go down in a Lord, woe is me, you have to haul up yourself and be like, all right, cool, we're not going to do that. Okay, what can I actually control here? What can I let go of here? How can I be different here until over time it kind of becomes second nature to you, right? And really that's the process of becoming. And that's how you become a different version of yourself, is you choose who you want to be and then you act like that person until you become that person.
Profound. Very much profound. Some
You.
people get drip up, but them sure get iron out after. So People, let me hear what you're saying in the chat. How did you find that a while ago? I'm sure that was quite profound. I am here in awe. That was beautiful. That was lovely. Thank you very much. And it's pretty simple again. It's profound, but it's so simple. Control what you can't control and what you can't control. Just let it be, because what you can do about it, nothing. If you sit down and worry and think, and what's going to happen? Absolutely nothing. Control what you can, leave what you can, work on what you can work on. That's the only thing that you can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And if I could add one thing to that, understand that you have inherent value.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us, when we try to over control things, is because we feel if I don't get this right, then I'm not going to be a smart person. If I don't get this right, then I'm not going to be a good person. If I don't get this right, somehow I won't be worth as much as I would like to be worth. Please understand, the things that happen, the things that you do not define your value. You have value just as a starting point by virtue of being here. And so you can let go off of your own neck and stop trying to overperform to prove that you are valuable. You are already valuable. If you fail one exam, it don't make you a done smaddy. Means that you did fail an exam. Yeah, the money are going to be a problem, but you can also resit that exam if needs be. Obviously, try to pass them.
Yep.
But if you don't, please, it's not the end of the world. There are many people out there in very high-ranking positions where if you look on them transcript, you're frightened.
Yeah, man.
Right? The amount of time but them have to do the exam. If it is that you disappoint somebody that you care about, it doesn't mean that you're a horrible person. It means that you made a decision that it didn't work out the way that you planned and they're disappointed, or it means you came to a point where you had to choose between you and them, and you chose them, and they're disappointed, which is their right, but it doesn't mean you're a bad person. They give people back their things. Stop carrying people's emotions. Give them back their feelings. Let them process it. Give them the space to have it. You one cannot lift up the entire world on your back. You want somebody, oh, Brad, is your back? Hello? You is a bodybuilder? Calm down. Calm it down.
Sure. Yeah, so the thing that we have to do in this situation is stop idealizing perfection. The goal should be progress and not perfection. And as soon as we can start to value progress over perfection, we will take a lot of stress off of ourselves. So especially for those who work and go to school, please give yourself some compassion. Give yourself the same advice that you would give to somebody else if they were in your position, because a lot of the times we are very, very compassionate with others, but we're so hard and difficult on ourselves because we have to be perfect. Miss Moore said it a while ago. You have some people in some very high places right now. If you check them track record, I realize it was a lot of trial and error. If you can think about the product that a lot of us might have in our homes by the name of WD-40. You know what the 40 stand for? It was the 40th trial, and him finally get it right. So that's why I named WD-40. He tried 39 times before, and it never worked out. And obviously has a global product right now. So if at first you don't succeed, if you're not successful, let's try again. And it's important that you have acceptance for particular situations, because we're striving for perfection. We don't accept when we fall short of perfection. So we create this whole catastrophe because we couldn't get it on the first time. And at the end of the world, you have life, just do it again. Find a way you might can't do it now, but accept the situation as hard as it can be. You're not going to just accept it in a one go. It's an ongoing process, but please start the process. Don't sit there in your sorrows and wallow in your sorrows. Start the process, get back on track, and do what you're supposed to do. At the end of the day, only you can walk in your shoes. So it really matter what nobody else wants to see the expectations of people have of you. Fact of the matter is things happen sometimes. You just have to roll with the punches. If you drop, just make sure you get back up again, because nobody can tell us you fail if you get back up again. And that's just it. So people, have some compassion on yourselves, strike a balance, find a healthy compromise, and just do it. And seek out support. Seek out support in these times. And as I touch on support, I see we have Miss Carisha Larman here. She is the commuting students office manager, and she can tell us some more about how students can access academic support services on campus, or even in this COVID time where we're not on campus. Ms. Larman, could you share with us how students can access support services?
Hi, Kyle. Thank you
Hey,
so much. Okay, so the Office of Student Services and Development has a lot of services for students that that students can access, along with other places on campus. So I'll start with OSSD first, and the Commuting Students Office is a part of OSSD, and so we have, for example, the mentorship program, right? That you can, as second-year students, you can sign up for external mentors. And so you should be seeing some information coming out soon regarding the mentorship program. As it relates to academic support as well, we have the academic support unit, right? And the good thing about the academic support unit is that the head of that unit liaises with the faculty boards. And so sometimes you don't necessarily have to go to the academic support unit for them to know that you need help. Once a student comes under academic warning or anything of that nature, or if a coordinator is worried about a particular student not fulfilling their academic goals and so forth, student is automatically referred to the academic support unit. But if it is that you're struggling with a particular course or subject, they have tutors as well, which is free tutoring services in a number of courses. And so if you're a part of STEP, what I would say is that you would get access to the academic support unit by your facilitators. They would normally send you information as relates to, how you can get to the academic support unit. If you're someone who is just online and just want to get some information about the academic support unit, you can always go to the Office of Student Services website and see how you can connect with the academic support unit. If you happen to be talking to, for example, someone in your faculty, they too can direct you to the ASU, right? So those are three things. Now, specifically, if you're a commuting student, and now everybody really commutes virtual, right? We have a number of support services that are specific to the commuting students office, right? So first of all, this is one of them, STEP, right? And it's really tailored to helping second-year students to just progress and thrive and just clear up all that you need to get clear before going into your final year of university. So second year is really the time for you to just get grounded in university and, just pretty much get all that you need to get out of university during this time. Soak up everything, right? And then prepare for your final leg, if third year is your final leg. We also have something called GPS, which is like growth and purpose sessions for our final year students and also our second year students who need that kind of career push, career boosting. If you need to be preparing if you're confused about what subject areas you're doing, and things about not just clarifying your academic goals. Growth and purpose sessions, that is there for you. Once you follow us on social media, you will get all this information. And so the final thing that I want to talk to you about is really the Office of Student Financing. Now, a lot of our problems are really associated with finances as well. And so OSF should be the place that you want to connect with if you need grants, bursaries. One of the things about UE is that a lot of students don't capitalize on the scholarships that are there for students. So at the end of the academic year, we don't have a lot of uptake for scholarships that are in the OSF, right? So I encourage you to go over to the Office of Student Financing website, look at what the scholarships that are there that are still open, start applying for bursaries and grants if those are some of the things that you need, and just get familiar with them to alleviate some of that kind of stress, right? So I just want to say, welcome to the persons who are on this platform this evening. I am glad that I came. It is a very informative session. I was moved by some of the things that the students said and how connected they were to their faculties and how much they put themselves out there to intentionally connect with people. And I'm so happy about Carla. Carla, I connect with you on so many different levels about so many different things, and I was saying to myself, boy, I'm glad me they come to see this, because I needed this kind of shake up as well, and this kind of push. So thank you so much, Kyle. Good seeing your face, and just enjoy the rest of your evening, have a good session. I think we're wrapping up now. So, I hope everybody actually took something away from this.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Ms. Lara. Thank you very much. Just a few more questions. I think somebody in the chat said they had a question for Ms. Moore. You can go ahead. I think it's Shamar.
Yeah, good day, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, the question was about, well, it's under the self-management topic. I wanted to ask Ms. Moore, what advice would she give to students who are dealing with debts like losing a loved one? How can they cope with that?
That's a good question. And also very timely, because a lot of us are dealing with that right now, and it's a very real possibility. I would say that the first thing that I would tell a person to do is to respect that they are grieving. That respect can take a lot of forms. For me, I know that when I am grieving, it's nearly impossible for me to manage many of the day-to-day things that I would otherwise manage. And if I am honest with myself, then that's just the truth, and I have to deal with that. Grief is also one of those things that it doesn't play out in a linear way. It doesn't necessarily play out. There's no one way that it shows up. And so I would ask people to pay attention to the ways that grief is showing up for them. For some people, it is delayed. For some people, grief might actually show up as them. Like, strangely, some people get very sexual when they're grieving. It sounds weird, but it's actually happened. Some people will kind of prefer to avoid and deal with it at a later time. But I think show up to what you're feeling and give yourself what it is that you need. I've had students who have had to come to me and ask me for extensions on things because they've lost loved ones to COVID-19. I've had students who have had to show up and ask me for deadlines on things because they themselves are sick with COVID-19. I think sometimes as students, you might be hesitant to reach out to your lecturers to ask them for particular types of support because you don't know if they'll be open, you don't know if they will be supportive. But a part of giving yourself what you need, as Kyle says, is if it's uncomfortable. You're dealing with the death of a loved one, it is very unlikely that you're going to get that paper in on time. Don't let it be a situation where you miss the deadline and then you have to go and say, oh, I missed the deadline because X and Y didn't happen. Send in a one email, if it's even just a 2-line, to say this is happening before, so you can get a little bit of space for yourself. Grieving is also one of those times when you need to be especially tender with yourself and very accepting of yourself. Your emotions might come up in a way that doesn't seem to make sense to you. Like, you might find yourself just like laughing uproariously 1 minute and then the next minute you feel sad and you don't know what's happening. that's okay. That's how grief plays out. There's no one way that is going to play out. So accept that it might look strange or feel strange for you and other people, but this is your process. Key. Also, in as much as you can, connect with other people, right? It's a very lonely feeling. It's losing a loved one it just shakes you to your core, and you can kind of spin out and lose that center point that usually connects you, especially if the person that you have lost is that center point that you used to turn to. Try to find other forms of connection with the people around you, and do not be afraid to tell the people who are trying to support you if their support is not working. So you might have a friend who wants to message you every day and say, how you do? How do you think I am doing? I am grieving. I don't want to have to answer this question of how you do 15 times a day. And it's okay for you to say that to people. Say, yo, Regine, but no say you try to support me, but it's not really easy for me if I tell you how me do 15 times a day because I'm not good. So I'm not doing well. I appreciate the support, but don't ask me that question. You know, there are certain things that we do to people who are grieving that actually just kind of exacerbates the situation for them, and we don't think about it. And it's okay for you to clear that kind of space for yourself by telling people that this is not working for me. But above all things, if you are in a workplace, you could apply for leave because you are grieving. If you are in a school system, it is okay for you to reach out to your lecturers and let them know that you need a little bit of grace right now because this is what you're going through. But reach out to them before it becomes a situation where they're thinking, where is this, why I can't find you, etc. And if it is disrupting your mental health, go to a doctor, get some type of sick leave, get a medical something, so you can actually take a break with the support and give yourself what you need. Is what I would advise to you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, so a few of my students wanted to see me, which is understandable. So this is Carisha Larmon. All right, so you see my face, know me. You can follow me on Instagram. I don't post much. Best you follow the Commuting Students Office page. They have all the information there. But it's good seeing you guys.
Right. So I hope that helped someone. A very timely piece of advice. Yeah, a very timely question as well. I myself am dealing with it as well. My neighbor just passed away. Today is Monday. Passed away on Saturday. About 3 weeks before that, I got a call from a neighbor who was basically hysterical. Her daughter just dropped down all of a sudden. And she called me while she was there on the ground, can't breathe and all of that. But death. It's something that is very weird. It's something that I can never, ever get used to. So just give yourself time and space to grieve. Don't suppress your feelings. Don't push it to the side, acknowledge it, feel it whenever it comes. Give yourself that space to feel it, especially to the young men, because we're not socialized in a way to show emotions, and man not supposed to bag that will look shaky. No, they're perfectly normal emotions. And just like any other human being, just like a woman, you also have those emotions as well, and it's perfectly fine for you to cry. It's perfectly fine for you to show what people class as being vulnerable, because there's strength in being vulnerable. Show your very true emotions. Don't hide it, don't suppress it. Bring it to the fore and show your humanity. Don't try to be like a robot without emotions or a stone. Because them things don't have emotions. And program, you're not programmed. The same thing I run through everybody else run through you as well. So be normal. Go through the process normally, and you will be better for it later on. Because if you suppress it's going to linger beneath the surface. It's going to manifest mentally, and it can also manifest in physical illness. A whole lot of people are dealing with some all sort of ailments, and them not understand the things them are suppress inside really affect them sick, deteriorate them immune system, body has secrete all sort of adrenaline and cortisol where they break down your immune system and they mash up your brain cell and all of that. People don't understand the mind-body connection like that. So when you suppress these things on a mental level, it affects you mentally, but it also affects you physically. So just allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to go through the process and all of that. Yeah, it's very much healthy. So just do it like Nike. Yeah. Right. So we had some more questions here, but I think we answered some of them by answering earlier questions like, how to manage time and responsibilities and how to manage anxiety. I mean, we can probably talk about how to manage anxiety in a bit more depth. But another one was to how to manage the transition from high school to university. And my experience might be different. So I can begin on that question. My experience might be different. For me, my undergrad years, to be honest, well, it's better not share that part because it probably will be very different from everyone else. But we spoke about it before. You have to schedule your time properly. So what I did, so I started out as part-time. So that could be an option for people as well. I know you probably want to finish in the 3-year time span, but if you understand that you can't manage it, do part-time. So if you can manage 5 courses, do 3. And the time where you'd probably spend doing the other 2 courses, spend that time studying and focusing on passing these courses and also finding time to do things that can find you strike a balance. We've spoken about this so much, balance. And that's because it's very, very, very important. It's quintessential to your success at the university level. Especially second year. Second year was my worst year at university. I dropped from a GPA of 4.08 to 3.43 or like that. I don't even remember. Something like that. But in a one go, slide right now. And I said, well, that was going there. So this now keep. So it's very important that you find the time to strike that balance, build a schedule, know what works for you, find time to do things when it is conducive. So I'll just say, if you also have an idea and you can't focus, do it in the night. If night is did by between X and X time, do it at Y and Y time. Just find what works for you and understand that the workload is very much different from high school as well. So don't think that the same amount of time that you spend studying for your high school subjects, you can use that to study for your university courses. It's very much different, very much different. And just as we said before, network, have social support, have people who can have your back, have people, especially who can hold you accountable, because that's very, very, very much important. Very, very much important. And speaking of accountability, I want to pose a question. How do we find a balance between taking a break, but also keeping ourselves accountable? Anton, I want to hear your take on this. How do you strike a balance between taking a break, but also keeping yourself accountable in terms of the amount of work that you put in order to achieve your academic goals that you have set for yourself?
Okay, so finding the balance and being accountable. So basically, I'll just speak from my experience. So what I do, I make sure I get a certain amount of work done each day in order to, remind myself what I'm actually here for. Because, there has been many times in the first year where, because I know that the lectures are recorded, I would say, I can miss this and probably binge watch a series and come back and watch it later. and then one lecture turns into 2, then 2 turns into 3, and then finals reach and you haven't been to a live lecture, and now you have to cram. And then when you actually do that now, and then you get the results and you see it, and now you're very disappointed because you know that you could have done better if you had just, find the balance, study, and just go through. So yeah, sometimes you just have to make sacrifices for your future. sometimes I just have to make sacrifices for your future and just
Facts.
go in with a mindset that, okay, I can do this at a certain time, but I still have to get this done because this is going to better myself and better the situation that I am in currently in the next 5 years. You have to look at it as, all right, where do I want to see myself in the next 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
I have to work towards that.
Yep. So always keep the goals at the forefront of your mind so that it can guide you back and recenter you on the path that you need to actualize that goal. Andrina, how about you? How do you strike that balance between taking a break and keeping self accountable?
As Antoine said, I as well try to get a certain amount of work done before I can take a break. So I know that I'm a procrastinator. So me not gonna take no break no, and then 1 hour time at me that on Instagram still I take break. So when I find myself in that same 1 hour break, I said, but I have work for do. And I have to read ahead because that 1 lecture turned into 2 hour lecture. I'm 23, and you're there having to watch 6 hours of lecture. It's not the same as sitting down and binge watching 6 hours worth of series. So I know that I have to get a certain set of work done before I can take breaks. Because those breaks are, you underestimate yourself. Like you have to be disciplined to do it. So if you know you're disciplined to take a 5-minute break only, then you can do it. But if you know you're not disciplined, it don't make no sense. So at first I have to set a certain amount of work first before I can do other things. Because I know within myself that I'm going to be branching up on Instagram and stuff like that.
Beautiful. I say when you're a type of person that needs a lot of motivation to get work done, you can't slack up like that because you lack the discipline, and discipline is key to striking that balance between taking a break and keeping yourself accountable. So just a quick tip that I use: everybody have the same 24 hours in a day. See, what I do is I break up my 24 hours. Like you have a pizza out and then cut up the pizza in a 12 slices. Yeah, so you have one round pie, it's one big pie, it's 124 hour, but you cut it how you want it. What I do is cut up my time. So the first thing that I take out is 8 hours, so that I have sleep. Critical to everything that you do. So if you burn up book all day and you're staying asleep, you consolidate that information, your brain fried, the information has no use to you. You cannot be as efficient as you need to be. Put on your sleeping time. All right? With all of the other things that you have to do. So let's say, for instance, for me, I work from home basically. So let's say I do my 8 hours sleep. So that's from 12 o'clock to 8 o'clock or 1 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Don't watch my time when I go to sleep. For me, work some very odd hours. And that's because of the whole thing that I do. But your 8 hours, whenever that 8 hours is, that's your 8 hours to sleep. All right? I say, all right, hour and a half to work out. So that's 9.5 hours. Yeah? Let's say throughout the day, I take probably, let's say the next hour and a half to consume. So morning, noon, and evening. That's the next hour and a half. That's what now. That's why 11 hours, something like that. 11 hours. That left 13 hours in a day. Right? So let's say I use a next, some people work. So let's say I have 8 hours work. That left 5 hours. That left 5 hours. Yeah? What do you do with that 5 hours? So you see, when you break it down like that, you realize that you have a whole heap of time, but a whole heap of that time you take a hike. If you check your screen time for your phone, you realize that your phone steals a lot of your time. And it's not doing anything constructive. So we have to prioritize certain things, and that's how we can strike a balance between the breaks and the accountability. You have to chop up your time. And we've been saying this from the very beginning. Schedule your time. Schedule your time. I'm sorry if I'm draping your blouse. I'm very sorry.
People them say I get aggressive, Kyle.
No, for real.
Me can add on power yourself.
Yes, please. Go
I
ahead.
like the pizza. I like the pizza something where Kyle said because I true plenty time. I said, Lord, I'm so busy, I don't have enough time when you break it off. It's like, but you have like 7 hours. When you do the 7 hours, you squander it, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that I want people to do is, hello, please work with yourself. Work with yourself. Some of you know, say, all right, I want to study IR in this hour, and then I want to go to management in that hour, and then I want to go to foundation course in that hour for your brain to work. So, right? First of all, it take you 15 minutes for your brain engage with the book. 15 minutes before you can even settle down to start read the book. So then if you take you 15 minutes now and then you say in the next, by the time you're done read for half an hour, your brain will start telling you, say, I have to move over the next topic. You're not being useful. So Kyle might be a person who is able to work in 1 hour spurts and move from subject to subject. You might be a person who knows say I need to block at 2 hours. At 3 hours for your subject at a time because it takes you a while to settle down. And the idea say you have to move on to the next subject cause upheaval. And so you stop pay attention to what you do. And also scheduling time for the things that you love. Look here, one something I want to say to you about that transition here. University, supposed to be slavery, Some man come in like a slavery on a sign up for. When you used to play in a band, when you used to do football, or do you used to go enter a little beauty pageant them. Now on reach university, I don't have time for any of that because I'm a university student now. I have to focus on my work.
Read from a degree.
Them where you use I have to read from a degree and I'm not going to spoon feed me, right? And so once you reach from the university campus, you're not even from the campus at the university. Once you reach now, you cut off everything where you used to fill you with joy. And I think Cal said this earlier. All of something where you used to fill you with joy, you part that. I just work. That's all you're going to do. That not going to serve you, my love. You're going to dry down and happy. So please, schedule time for rest. Schedule time for play. Schedule time to go and spend time with people that you love. And when I walk up and down and I talk about you, no pressure nobody daughter, no pressure nobody son. Uno is somebody daughter and somebody's son, no pressure in yourself. Because you're a university student doesn't mean that you have to spend 24 hours a day working. You need a routine that lets you know I have transitioned from work time and I'm going to rest time. And then a routine that lets you know I am transitioning from rest time into work time. Some of you are in a perpetual state of anxiety because there is nothing that clearly demarcates this is my work time and where it ends. This is my rest time and where it begins. So you need a routine. Usually, when you take the bus and left the university campus, the bus communicates to you that work time is done, at least for your time. You're in your yard. What you going to do? Work from the kitchen? No, you need something. And then you're going to say, I'm going to take a bath. And that will be the break. I'm going to actively pack up the device them and put them away from me for a time. And that's how I know that I'm going to take the break. Like, you need something like that. But please don't give up everything you enjoy because you've come into the slavery that is the University of the West Indies. That's not what we intend for you, honey. I mean, we're top 1.5, but it ain't like that.
That's a conversation for another day, Miss Moore. Oh yes, practical example. Let's use myself as an example. I go to bed at 1 o'clock. I wake up at 8. I wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning. 8 hours sleep. Between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock, I talk to the Lord. So I study my Bible, I read my quarterly, then I check some messages from my phone and see if anything work related for me. Check some emails, see what's popping. By 10 o'clock, start routine some work. I work from 10 o'clock to about 12 o'clock. So I know I'm not eat nothing, so I get hungry. I go deal with something to eat by between cooking and eating. Let's say I finish by 1:30. 1:30, my belly full again. I take the half hour, I relax my brain. I see what I go on the television. I check some message again. I mean, I check message between the time, but just not doing any work at that time. So the next half hour between 1:30 and 2 o'clock. I make my brain breeze off, make my food second. 2 o'clock, work again. Work for your next 2 hours spell. By 4 o'clock, I say, all right, time to work out. Work out by 5:30, be done. 5:30, reach home, bed, circle off my brain again. By 6:30 again, consume. Half hour. Then, what do you do with that next, now? So I'm at about 7 o'clock now, between 7 o'clock and 11 o'clock. That's how many hours? That's 6 hours. What do you do with that time? So you see, you have massive amounts of things that you get done through this. You realize, I still have time to check my message them. I have time to talk to the Lord. I have time to do work, I have time to consume, I have time to relax, I have time to work out. I mix things that I need to do with things that I want to do. And at the end of the day, I still have 6 hours to play with. So what are you doing with that 6 hours? So me now, by 7 o'clock now, I probably put in some more, but by 9 o'clock I'm done because Family Feud start and I have to watch Family Feud. So I watch Family Feud for the rest of the night time. I watch some football review show for how I go on for the weekend or how I go on in a Champions League. And that's how I do it. So how do you do it? How can you do it? What do you have to do? So just match it out like that. Put it on paper, see how it look, and see if it works for you. Realize the amount of time that you spend wasting, doing things that are non-consequential, doing things that aren't really beneficial or edifying at all, and see how you can use that time to do something much more meaningful. And it still might bring you some semblance of satisfaction. But just try it. That's how I do it. So I don't know if it might work for somebody, but try it. Nothing beat a trial. Yeah? All right. So you see, because time is going, I want to jump to the final question, and I think a lot of people might benefit from the response to this. So I want to ask Ms. Moore, how do you? Yes, Ashley, I am SDA. Yeah, man, I read my quarterly and my Bible. Yes, I'm on it. But Ms. Moore, anxiety. Anxiety is running waves across people. It's actually a little buzzword now. 'Cause everybody on social media depressed and them anxious and them all sort of things. What some of them not even know what them are calling for this. Because them just hear a little word and them feel a little nerviness and them say, oh, I have anxiety, and them not even know. But for those who actually deal with real debilitating forms of anxiety that cause clinical distress and cause it not to be able to function in several domains. So emotionally, mentally, academically, occupationally, interpersonally. How do you manage that? Especially in this time where people are even having COVID anxiety. Nobody don't want to live their yard, nobody don't want to go bungalow up with no people. People are just frazzled because people are dropped like fly, left, right, and center. How do you deal with that?
It's a good question. So for me, and I am not the person who have the psychology degrees here, Kyle. But for me, I can tell you what I use for myself. One of the first things that I had to do, and this was really just a decision about how I was going to place my energy, I had to stop forcing myself to get over my anxiety. Right? Because when you have anxiety, and this was, of course, I had anxiety before it was trendy to have anxiety, right? So I've had anxiety from back in the day when a person didn't want to have anxiety. Now, if you don't have anxiety, it's like, must be nice, right?
All going to you.
All going for you. But I used to be so almost ashamed of the fact that I had anxiety that is that would kill up myself and not have anxiety no more. And I found that that actually put a particular type of pressure on me, and it wasn't helping me. And one of the things that has helped me is to look back and recognize that I have achieved things with my life. And if you look back in your life as anxious people, you realize that you have achieved things in your life as well. And some or all of those things were achieved while you had anxiety. So when you are in the grips of anxiety and it's telling you that you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't achieve this and you can't do that, you can't achieve that and you're not good enough and all of these other things that, these thoughts that the anxiety gives to you, the thing you have to offer is that kernel of truth, which is, no, I have actually achieved and done a lot in my life while being anxious, so I can do more. If I'm going to do something, I accept that anxiety is going to accompany me while I am doing it. And so what I move towards is tools to help me to manage my anxiety. So for instance, if I have to go and speak in front of a large audience, I know that my anxiety is going to kick up because like open spaces, social settings, those types of things, like they really mess me up. So what do? The first thing I try to do is I show up to the space early, because I know that if I'm there before people start to file in, it makes me feel more confident that when I have to walk in cold to a room full of people. I do breathing exercises because I know that once I lose control of my breath, my anxiety is going to spiral even more. I counter the thoughts that I'm having, the negative thoughts that I'm having. I question them. Right. So I'm using like a behavioral therapy on myself, and myself says, oh, you're gonna walk out and drop. You've been on 100 stages. Did you fall? No. So then why you think you're going to drop on this one? But just think you're going to drop. Well, obviously you're lying. So I can't trust you on this one, right? The people that are going to boo you, you've spoken in front of 300 groups of people. Have they booed you yet? No. So then why this one are going to boo you? I don't know. Okay, well, that's obviously a lie. So some of the things that I have to do is like I have to challenge my thoughts, my anxious thoughts, when I think that, they're coming in and they're telling me lies. And I also have to keep a firm handle on the fact that everything that I've achieved it while being anxious. So, I have the capacity. Breathing and connecting with my body has also been very important for me. So breathing, movement, like literally just going out and being in nature has been useful for me. I find that when I'm locked inside for too long, things kind of tend to crowd in on me. If I can get out into a green open space, that is useful for me. It's also been useful for me to identify the things that trigger my anxiety to flare and learn how to manage them. People who come across as very critical to me, then once somebody starts criticizing me, it's like the whole world starts shut down. And so I have to learn, if a person has a particular tone that sounds critical, I can ask them if they can use a different tone, or I can remind myself that this is their tone and it has nothing to do with me. And so I can listen for the message and let the tone stay, which means I have to work with myself in terms of what feelings come up whenever that tone, right? A lot of us are having health anxiety at this time. I sit down every day and I wonder, how long is my family going to be safe? There are elders in my family. What can I do? I still have people in my family who haven't taken the vaccine because they have doubts about it. I'm going to think that I'm going to be careful on top of it. So For me, what I had to do is to really reorient myself and get to the point of what is within my control. What is within my control? I can't control my relatives. I cannot control if they wear their mask. I cannot control if they sanitize. So what is within my control? The people who I see in a day-to-day, I can do my best to keep them safe. The people who are further from me, I can do my best to encourage them to act in ways that are going to keep them safe. Those who have questions that I can answer, I will answer the question to the best that I can. And if I cannot, then I will go and get more information. That helps me to feel more in control because I'm not sitting down here just thinking about what can go wrong. I'm doing something to try to help myself to kind of get along with these difficulties that I'm having. So for me, living with anxiety has been primarily about identifying the way that the anxiety shows up in my life and getting tools for myself to respond to those things. And the other thing that has been big for me, and I know that the people are going to kill me with the must be nice. Them are going to kill me with the must be nice, because when Kyle said wake up 9 o'clock, somebody said, imagine being able to wake up at 9. Right? Now, just rock with me here because it sounds weird. One of the times when I had to encounter anxiety the most is when I set my alarm every night. Because the moment I set my alarm, I start to have performance anxiety that I cannot fall asleep fast enough to get enough sleep to be rested to wake up in time for when my alarm is going to go off. So literally, I'm lying down in the bed like this, freaking out because I'm not drop asleep fast enough.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I was basically on DPH, Histol, Z-Quil, NyQuil, like any type of thing that would just knock me out. Just because I was like, oh my God, like it's literally like this type of sleep. And here's what and listen, I acknowledge my privilege in being able to do this. I have stopped setting my alarm. And in order to continue to do the things that I need to do, I have had to become very deliberate about what I do in my nighttime so that I can naturally go to sleep at a time that allows me to naturally wake up early enough to do the things I need to do. Because in reality, I was a part of the problem. I would work down to like 11 o'clock. And then expect myself to just drop asleep in half an hour so that I could wake up at 6. And my body was like, pardon? You were in full fight mode a while ago, like working on 57 things. How'd that go? So of course, after your brain is going like this, of course, it's gonna take your time to cool off. My time is gonna take me about 3 hours, which means say, well, all right, so I'm gonna end up and drop asleep like 3, 4. And then I want to wake up 6. How would it, how you gonna do it? Make it make sense. So I had to change a whole bunch of things in my life, which it had a ripple effect, but it made me beneficial. So one, I did have to start eat earlier. So my body never did I try to digest the food and I keep me up late at night. 2, I had to stop working at a sensible hour so that I could do things in the evening and like allow myself to wind down. I did have to put up the phone. I had to start reading paper books that were made of actual paper, so that I could take the phone out of my face and allow myself to fall asleep naturally. I had to make a decision that I was, for instance, not setting any meetings before 10 a.m. because I can't guarantee. I will set the alarm if I need to, but I can't guarantee so I'm going to wake up on time. Some people love set 8 o'clock meeting. Why? No, I don't want to spend my 8 o'clock with you. I don't want to start my day with you. No. I don't do that. I don't set no meeting up before 10 because I can usually get myself together and like wipe out the matter and appear as though I've been awake by 10 o'clock. I put on the do not disturb on my phone at night time. And set my favorites list. Anybody who need to reach me for emergent, because that's the thing. I'm the big daughter, right? So as a big daughter, you're the secretary. So you feel like you can't turn off your phone because you are the one everybody will call.
You need my sleep.
Put them on my favorite list, Papa. If them call it, we break through, but everybody else decline. Because people want to start calling somebody 6:37. Hello? No, it's not gonna work. Put on the do not disturb on my phone. Because all of this, when I looked at my life, my sleep, the anxiety that was interrupting my sleep was having a ripple effect everywhere else in my life. I was always tired, so I couldn't finish my work on time. I always felt like I was dragging and I was struggling. And then I became anxious about my capacity to do my job, which then fed into my imposter syndrome and the idea that I didn't deserve the jobs that I had and all of that type of thing. And I had to take it down. I was like, what is the thing that you can control? If you are rested, a lot of this other stuff becomes easier. And so you need to reorient your life around getting some rest. And you see, once I started to realize that it's 8 hours of sleep or bust, and I wasn't tired all the time, a lot of my anxiety alleviated, because when you're tired, everything goes into hyper mode. Go sleep. When you hear what Kyle say, go to your bed.
The remedy for sleep is sleep.
Sleep, rest, and now watch Dirty Bungle. That's what you need to do. Rise, Dirty Bungle. Rise, Dirty Bungle. Go to your bed.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I see the thing about the sleep thing, you know. Sometimes I say, no, I can't go on my bed yet because I'm asleep now, waste time, I have things to do. When your brain is fresh and rejuvenated, you work more efficiently. So if you never get sleep or your brain tired, but you get to do the work, you probably take 2 hours to do the work. Whereas if you ain't go sleep, you probably that take 1 hour to do the work. And I don't think a lot of people realize that your brain works much more efficiently when it is rested. Yeah. But just to add 2 cents to the anxiety argument. Anxiety is very much, but feeling anxious is normal. A lot of people are self-labeling themselves with anxiety when you're just feeling anxious. Anxiety is a clinical disorder. So feeling anxious is normal. Everybody feel anxious. Before I come on and this, I was very anxious. What I do, I just push me through my window. Breathe. And that is actually the key to anxiety. So anxiety is actually your brain making an appraisal of a situation that has not happened yet. That it is some way, somehow threatening. There is some fear attached to it. And as a result, your body triggers the fight or flight response. So adrenaline start kick, cortisol a rush, blood a rush to your muscle them for either mobilize to fight or to flee. You start to breathe harder because your body need more oxygenated blood to pump to the same muscles where you need to fight or flee. You start to perspire, yeah, and all of that. Your heart start beat out, your chest palpitations. The key to bringing yourself from 100 to 0 real quick is breathing. If you can start to do the same guided breathing that we were doing in the beginning that Miss Moore was doing. In for 3 seconds, hold for 1, release. So in through your nose and don't hold it in your chest. No, no, down in your stomach. Yeah, breathe. And the key to breathing is that it decreases your heart rate. Your heart rate decrease, that means your heart now pump no whole heap of blood to your muscle there. Yeah? Whole heap of blood stop pump to your muscle them, you stop sweating. You stop sweating, you feel like your body calm down. Your body stops secreting and pouring all of this adrenaline and cortisol, which is actually detrimental to your system after a sustained time of alertness. So when you're constantly in a state of arousal like that, when you're constantly in a state of anxiety, you're also actually much more susceptible to physical illnesses. So you realize you start pick up any little bug, whatever the place. Every minute you catch cold, every minute you have flu, you have headache, all of these things. Breathe. Key to anxiety is breathing. And also what helps as well is to confuse the brain. So while you're breathing, count. Your brain cannot focus on being anxious, breathing, and counting at the same time. So sit up straight, breathe, count in your mind. 1, 2, 3. Count slowly as well. Yeah? In and out, in and out, in and out. You do this for a sustained period until you realize that you are now calm. It brings you right from 100 right down to 0. So just focus on your breathing. Once you can do that, the anxiety or the feeling anxious will slowly dissipate. So whenever you're feeling anxious again, try it. As Miss Moore also said, fact checking. The reasons for that trigger or anxiety a lot of the times are untrue. Listen, for instance, you have a presentation and I say, Lord Jesus, peace. You chat and I'm going to make no sense. You feel like you're going to fail. You feel like if people don't look for you like you have 10 head, 5 ears, 3 mouth, and 40 eye. But you do several presentations before and they went quite fine. So what will be different with this one? You feel like you can't do it, but if you should take like 2 minutes and think about some scenarios before where you probably thought that you couldn't have done it, and Lord Jesus, may I go dead. Well, chances are if you went dead, you couldn't be right. That's how I think about it and actually have something else to do right now. So you made it through that situation. So why you can't make it through this one again? Just remind me. As a matter of fact, remind yourself what's so different about this one. So we go through life feeling like this all the time when there is actually no real basis for feeling like this. And all we have to do is just take a step back, just really evaluate the situation and say, well, why not? Why can't I do this? Why do I feel like this? And I mean, it's a natural thing. It's automatic thoughts that are being triggered, that are being processed as truths that are not truths, and then the body reacts to it. So just fact check it. Just fact check it, breathe through the situation, have some compassion with yourself, be easy, and you will make it through the situation. I remember when I was in the master's program, when I had presentations to make out, anxiety would have killed me. When I think about it, I say, all right, I have presentation, I have half hour presentation go start 11 o'clock. That means by 12 o'clock, the presentation go done. It's going to get done, and knowing myself, it's going to probably get done well. So what am I fearing now? By 12 o'clock, me outside I buy some sugar bun and cheese, and a bottle of crystal punch to wash it down. And everything will be fine. I'm not going to die. It's not going to be the end of the world. The anxiety will make you feel like that. but just realize that it's probably not going to kill you. So just breathe through it, talk to yourself, coach yourself through it, fact check your thoughts. Automatic thoughts will always come that are most often negative, but just ground them in truth and ground them in positivity and be kind to yourself. And I'm sure you will be fine. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen.
So I want to thank you guys for coming today. I hope that you would have taken something away from this session. I hope that you will give yourself some more compassion. I hope that you will start to write those schedules and build those agendas and start prioritizing and compartmentalizing and just doing what you need to do to find a balance for yourself and for the goals that you have as well. Be kind to yourself. Don't be afraid to reach out, build your network, get that social support. Yeah. And you make it. We all thought at one point that we would make it, but see Miss Moore there, me telling you stress me out, me as a judge, and me I go feel. But now I go pass. I'm a pass. I'm a pass good too. Me pass better than I feel that me supposed to pass or or I thought I was capable of, but I did it. And if I can do it, you can do it as well. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Or even if you believe in yourself, fake it. Trick your brain. Your brain now go figure it out. Trick your brain and tell yourself so you can do it. And guess what? When you tell yourself you can do it, you're going to find ways to get it done. That's how it works. So that is why faking it until you make it is so pronounced. Yes? Because you're actually going to find ways to align your attitude with your behavior. So just do it. When you're feeling anxious, just do it, breathe through it. Fact check your thoughts and just get it done. Start. Normally when I feel anxious about doing something, as soon as I start feeling normal. And I start talking some portion of things where I have to realize somebody didn't even know them things, then confidence start build and the motivation start rising. And I say, trouble, expert in the room, yes, please. So just do it. Don't wait until the motivation comes. Start. Anxiety will go away, the motivation will go away. Exactly, because I'm not dunce. I'm a scholar, you hear my name, Schloss, scholarly. Hello? So just believe in yourself. Push through, you can get it done. I believe in all of you. Hope you learned something today about managing your time, about managing yourself, about managing your anxiety, about managing all that's going on with the pandemic, about accessing academic supports. And I just wish for you all success, balance, and happiness. Thank you for joining us today. Ms. James?
Okay, good night, everyone. Kyle, Carla, y'all left me feeling enlightened. I don't think that I can fully summarize everything that you guys have said tonight. So I'm going to invite Miss Newman to unmute her mic, turn on her camera if possible, and let's just hear from the students. Let's hear from the students.
And also thank you to my panelists, Antoine Mackay, thank you very much, sir. And Gina Crawford, thank you very much, ma'am. And the one and only, Carla Moore. Thank you very much. It stressed me out to see her again, but I was blessed today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Good night, everybody. I wish I could turn on my camera. It's a bit of a stretch though because Wi-Fi is up there. But at this time, I just want to extend just a generous amount of thanks to our lovely, vibrant, energetic, entertaining guest speaker of the evening, Miss Carla Moore. It was truly inspiring and just amazing to hear these different points that you outlined through the session. It was just amazing to share this space. I mean, truly, a lot of things, just touching on themes that we often shy away from, like disappointment and grief, and acknowledging that it's not easy for us to do these things, but sometimes it just takes compromise, and sometimes we can't put that A+ effort, but we're giving the best that we can at what we can do, and just try and push through. And, I'd also like to thank, all the participants here today, everybody, who turned on your cameras, shared your experiences, everything. Just thank you for participating in the session. Everybody in the chat, going along with it, vibing to the session. It was really a great experience. And I just want to once again thank you, Ms. Carla Moore, for your taking the time to share this space and, engaging with us and imparting such wonderful wisdom with us. Thank you.
Thank y'all for having me. I really enjoyed it. And I'm so glad that I could trigger Kyle's PTSD. When you mock up the 50-page essay, the 50-page teacher, not the paper is nothing. You just do the reading and get your grades supposed to on the dons. Right? If there's one thing I want to say, thank you for having me. I just remember, you're not dons. Stop treating yourself like you're dons. Half hour no, you just need to believe in yourself, because some of the little mediocre something them when I see some of the other students them are firing alright. Me know so you can more than start it up, but you not believe in yourself, and that's why I'm come here come believe in you. You're not done. Don't treat yourself like a slave driver. You need to do. Don't treat yourself like you're the worst ever. And even if you need to go over something 3 times, forget it. And you're process that. And nothing wrong with that. Right? You take the time you take for learn the thing, but eventually you're gonna learn the thing. You believe in it, you like, oh, me believe in a team. And you are more than gas. So go out and do great things. But take time with yourself. Just take time with yourself.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Carla. Mood for 2021, we no dance. Remember that, guys. We no dance. It doesn't matter how you're feeling, how you wake up feeling, or how you go into your bed feeling. Just remember the wise words of Carla Moore tonight. We no dance. All right. Kyle, thank you. And Trina, I know this was hard for you. I know this was also hard for you, Antoine, but you guys came out and you showed for your fellow steppers. And I just want to give you guys a round of applause for that. Thank you, guys. You shared your experiences and you were honest about it. So I have to appreciate that. I love it. Like the whole vibe tonight, I feel like we learned so much that I need to sleep on it tonight just to unpack everything I went through. And then sit down for tomorrow and then rewatch the video on Wednesday. Just to digest everything, because yeah, thank you guys. I feel like that just covers everything. And Miss Newman, thank you. Like that was so poised. Right? I don't feel like I can say it any other way. Thank you, Miss Newman. Like, yes. All right, so guys, I'm going to wrap up the session now, but I just want to remind you guys that we have another session coming up on October 11th. And this one is kind of a part 2 of what we did tonight. So this one will be focused on mental health. So like our other session, it's going to be on a Monday at 6 p.m. I'll share the link for Zoom and YouTube, so you guys can feel free to join on whichever platform you want. And I want to give a shout out to those who were on YouTube all night with us. I know we took a bit of time, but you can't lie and say you didn't learn anything or you did not enjoy the conversation. So I want you guys to unmute your mic right now and help me clap. Just help me clap. Just help me clap. There we go.
Hey.
Wonderful session. Wonderful session.
I don't know. Okay, so goodbye, everyone. Thanks again for coming out. Enjoy the rest of your week. I love having these sessions on a Monday because I feel like it's the perfect way to propel you into the rest of the week going forward, you know? So yeah, once again, good night. Thank you to everyone.
Blessings and light, everybody. Be blessed.
Carry the same energy. Remember, we're not done.